Hey guys, it's Imi from Imy's Animals, and today I'm going to be doing my Draw My Life Pet Edition. And so ever since I was little I have always had pets. I cannot remember a time in my life where I didn't have pets. Well, as I was really little, all I remember having is Matty and Millie to start with, and these were two tabby cats. Matty was mainly my sister Becca's cat. They just loved each other so much and got on really well. And then one day, not too long after we had them, Millie was actually hit by a car on the road outside of our house. Everyone was really upset, especially Becca and my other older sister, but I was a bit confused as I was so young. At the time, we also had a rabbit called Flory. She was a lionhead and we called her Flo for short. And she was really sweet, and I have some pictures of me actually feeding her carrots. I remember me getting on well with her. But after a while she did become lonely, and she just seemed a bit sad on her own. We looked around and asked what animal we could get to put with her. Was it another rabbit? But we suggested to get a guinea pig. We were a bit unsure to start with because we'd never actually had one before. But we were shown this chubby, wiry thing, and we called him Pip, and we were a bit unsure to start with, but he turned out to be the most gorgeous guinea pig we've actually ever had, and Flory and Pip got on so well. Even in the winter, Flory would start pulling out little bits of her fur to keep him warm. It was true love. Not long after, we actually decided to move house. We moved to a bigger house with a bigger garden, lots of space for animals, but it was a little bit empty with our three pets, Matty, Flory and Pip. We then went to our local rescue centre and we got another cat. We didn't actually see his parents as he was a rescue cat, but he turned out to be really big. We were unsure of his name to start with, but we called him Milo. He was definitely my mum's cat. They had such a special bond. He was the sort of cat that would hug you back. September came, and it was actually the 10th of September, which was my birthday. I'd had such a lovely morning, and I was just driving off to school and I saw Matty dead on the road. It was the worst thing as a child to see your own pet dead. It was really sad. I didn't actually go to school that day because I was so upset from what I'd seen, but everyone thought I didn't go to school because it was my birthday. For a couple of days afterwards, Milo would mope around the house meowing, and you could tell he was actually looking for Matty. It was really sad. When I was 9, I researched loads about tortoises and I asked my mum. She was unsure to start with, but she finally let me get my own tortoises. We went to a place called Reptiles Plus and I got two called Tum Tum and Nutmeg. Then one night, Nutmeg accidentally fell upside down underneath her heat lamp, and we think she developed an abscess in her leg from that. But she was grateful to be turned over, but she did actually have to have one of her legs amputated, but she's still happy now. Then October came and a car sadly hit Milo. This was like the worst possible thing that could happen, and our neighbour actually found him. I remember my mum being so upset, I can't even describe it, and I did try to comfort her as much as I could. I did forget to say, but we had a jet black cat called Sophie, and she died before we moved house. We planted a bush and we called it Sophie's bush, and when we moved house I asked if we could bring it with us because I didn't want her to be alone at our old house. As a family, we just all loved animals, and we headed to an animal rescue which we usually go to. We went in as a family of 5 and came out a family of 6. We bought a new cat and we named him Blue. He was a silver tabby. He was definitely my cat. He chose me to be his main owner. I taught him loads of tricks. He was just so cooperative. He was literally my best friend. One of my funny stories was that I was picking borage, which is an edible flower, outside, and my mum called me in. Then when I came back, Blue was sat by the bowl and he was just looking at me, and it was clear that he had actually eaten these edible flowers. It was really funny. We had such a big garden, and we actually let Flory hop around just wherever she wanted as it was all really secure. But then one night we guessed that she must have eaten something poisonous, and overnight she sadly passed away and Pip was left alone. We then got 3 new guinea pigs. Mine was called Silky, then we had one called Scooter and Mika. Sadly, Scooter died first of a cancer tumour, Mika died second after a while of really bad teeth problems, and then last of all, Silky died of a really bad blow. Then Pip died soon after, and we decided this was because of heartbreak, because of Florrie dying, although we know that's not really possible. But me and my sister found out when we called his name going to his hutch and he didn't come. Then September the 20th came, and I came home from school and Blue usually greeted me, but he didn't. Then my dad told me that he had actually been hit by a car. I was so sad, and I didn't really eat for about a week. A couple of weeks after my 12th birthday, I asked if we could go to Pets at Home, and there were these really cute guinea pigs, but my mum said that we were allowed no more pets. So we did a bit more shopping, then we came back and I asked if we could just have one last look. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but I ended up coming out with 2 more guinea pigs called Waffle and Panda, and I still have them now. We then headed to the Stubbington Ark just for a little trip, just have a look, me and my mum. And there was this family of kittens, and I just loved them so much. I fell in love with one with a half ginger face, half brown face, and then one with a full ginger face. But my mum said no, and I remember being really cross. My sister actually was like, "Are you sure you don't want any more cats?" And we ended up getting them, and so we had 2 more cats to our family. But that wasn't enough for us. We decided we wanted our own eggs. And so we got 3 chickens, 2, well, they were meant to all be hens, but one morning when Zoe and I were camping out in the garden, we heard them crowing and we were like, what, we're meant to have hens, not cockerels. But yeah, it turns out we had cockerels, so had to give them back. So we got 3 more chickens, got Rhodey, Maisie and Buffy. Sadly Buffy died, and I think it was a sour crop. We now have Rhodey and Maisie just left. I also had a fish, and he was called Mr. Potter, and another one who was his friend. Sadly his friend died. And one day when people were actually looking around our house, my fish died. That must have been quite lovely for them to look at. Then one day my sister was going to an interview at her college, and we were just looking around the area that it was, and we popped into a Pets at Home afterwards, and just as we were here we just thought we would. Then we looked in the rescue animal section and there were lots of things, but then there was the most gorgeous Rex rabbit, and it was actually called Jonathan, and I was like, look, it's so cute, look at it. And my mum was like, oh, but we couldn't not get him, he was just so gorgeous. So she went through all the normal procedures, and he was just so persuading. He like hopped up to us and he was just so lovely. So we did, and that is Hugo, who we have today. He was so lovely to start with, but he couldn't just last just with us keeping him company, and so we looked around trying to find places where we could get a new rabbit. Then one day our friend called saying they were moving house and had to get rid of all their rabbits. We did happen to ask, do you have one that we could put with our neutered boy rabbit? And they did, so they gave us one free of charge, and she was called Honey, and so we still have Hugo and Honey now, and they are deeply in love with each other. It's my leg. I'm sure you have gathered from this video, I have had an enormous amount of pets. I've just had them for my whole life, and I can't imagine a life without animals. My current animal collection, I have Jules the cat, Libby the cat, the 2 hens, Rhodey and Maisie, my guinea pigs, Waffle and Panda. We also have 2 rabbits called Honey and Hugo, and last but not least, the 2 tortoises, Tum Tum and Nutmeg. For now I'm complete, but I'm sure I'll get more in the future. I then started a YouTube channel, which you all know because you're watching it now. But thank you so much for watching. I love all my pets so much, and rest in peace to the animals that have passed away. Bye guys!